Welcome to this quick presentation. My name is Jordan Apodaca. I'm going to be explaining how to get one session breakthroughs and charge over $1,000 per client with no prep time, no scripts, no techniques, just curiosity-driven conversations and what I call spontaneous hypnosis. And to begin to get a handle on what I mean by spontaneous hypnosis, let's talk about the problem with traditional hypnosis methods. And the problem with coaching methods, NLP methods, they all kind of share the same problem. If you've been to a hypnosis training, you might remember that the vast majority of them begin by teaching something that is actually very, very true. They begin by saying that trance is a naturally occurring phenomenon. It is not something magical or mystical. It is not something divine or heavenly. It is something that is just part of the human experience. But then, right after that, they abandon this principle by teaching you techniques, by teaching you how to force trance onto somebody, by giving you scripts for how to do it. Let me ask you this. Why would you ever need to force something that happens naturally? This over-reliance on techniques has created a whole host of problems as a result. Number one, we fall in love with theory. We become students instead of practitioners. And so, yeah, we can talk about it all day, but we lack the confidence to go and actually get results. Instead of being able to focus on our clients, we're in our heads thinking, what should I say next? What technique should I use next? We end up triggering resistance in our clients because we're trying to force them to do something. And if you are like every other human that exists, you don't like being told what to do. The unconscious mind of your client is no different. If you're trying to tell it what to do, commanding it to close its eyes and walk down the stairs or whatever it may be, do this technique, do this reframe, it's not going to like it and it's going to resist it, which will make things take longer. And because it takes longer, you have less time for marketing and sales. This doesn't just hurt your sessions, it doesn't just hurt your clients in terms of not getting them results faster, but it hurts your income. You're not able to be focused on social media, creating content, doing sales calls, because you're spending so many extra sessions meeting with people because you're triggering all this resistance up front. And then the techniques work, right? Sometimes. Sometimes you'll have a session where they just seem to be following it, they get it, and then other times it's like no matter what you say, it's like you're talking to a wall, and it's not their fault. The thing about techniques is they're going to work for some people but not for others. And so you end up like gathering all of these techniques hoping that one of them will work. It's exhausting and it's unnatural. And oftentimes your client can see what you're doing, like it's too obvious. So you end up recognizing that the change just doesn't last, unfortunately. You might make them feel relaxed or feel good in the session, but 2 weeks down the road, 2 months down the road, they come back and they're like, hey, that didn't work. So you're now wasting more time meeting with them. Or they eventually lose trust and go do something else. Or they even give up hope on ever changing, which is the saddest possibility, honestly. As a result, you end up beating yourself up or blaming your client. You end up wasting time on prep and homework and giving them audios that they don't even listen to. Now, thankfully, we can wipe out all of those problems. Those problems do not have to be problems for you. But the only way that they can no longer be problems is if we go back to the fundamental principle that trance really, genuinely is a naturally occurring phenomenon. So imagine this. Imagine walking into every session with complete confidence that you can deliver results for your clients. That is what can happen if you embrace the idea that trance is natural. Imagine being fully present with your clients because you're not trying to get them to do anything. You're connecting with them, trusting that trance and hypnosis will happen effortlessly. Imagine enjoying your practice and having fun in your sessions. Imagine seeing your clients leave with profound, lasting change, and you know that it's going to last. You know that the changes were deep enough that they're not going to just disappear the moment that they leave. Imagine being able to grow your practice because you're becoming known for delivering fast, impactful results. Because of that, you're able to charge $1,000 or more per client. And in the end, you're doing less. You're having your client do all the work. And then they think that you're the genius who has the Jedi mind tricks. It's a really fun place to be in. And imagine just feeling a sense of ease and flow in your work. Imagine being able to do all of the traditional steps from building rapport to identifying the root problem. You can read the rest. and not having to worry about a single technique. So what I mean here is that if you let it unfold spontaneously, instead of telling someone to do a visualization, they will do it on their own if they need to. Instead of telling someone to do a regression, they will do it on their own if they need to. Imagine being able to learn this anti-technique approach in just one weekend. It is not rocket science. Once we break it down and you get to see it and experience a couple of times, it will click. You will not be an expert right away, but you will be able to use it right away. Imagine not having to waste time prepping for sessions, memorizing scripts and techniques. Imagine having no more pressure on yourself to get it right because there is no one right way. And imagine not ever trying to force a client into trance again, not ever feeling the pressure of having to tell your client what to do or feel the awkwardness of trying to guide them into techniques. So, what makes this so different? I'm going to dive into this definition here in just a second, but first, as you're thinking about this idea of what does it mean for hypnosis to be spontaneous? Let me ask you a couple of questions. What if the actual key to success here was to stop complicating things, to stop forcing it, to stop overthinking it, and instead just have a human-to-human conversation? What if your job wasn't to create trance? What if your job was not to create breakthrough, but to catch it and notice it when it happens spontaneously, just while you're having a normal conversation? What if the key to unlocking deep, lasting change is not about your ability to control a session, but in your ability to let go and allow your client's unconscious mind to do what it needs to do and to do what it can do better than you can do, naturally, spontaneously, and effortlessly? So let's take it back to the beginning. What if, instead of trying to tell our clients what to do, we build on the principle that we all learned at the beginning? Trance is a naturally occurring phenomenon. It happens spontaneously. Trance happens spontaneously. Hypnosis happens spontaneously. And breakthrough happens spontaneously. So let's take a look at this definition now, and let's just parse some of it out. From this, if we apply this definition to hypnosis, we can see that hypnosis is natural. It is the native tendency of humans to go into hypnosis, to go into trance. We can see that it is an impulse to go into trance, that it is directed internally. It's self-acting, which means you don't have to cause it. It can happen without human labor. It can happen without apparent external influence, force, cause, or treatment. It is not contrived or manipulated. Again, it is natural. I love the idea that it can happen without human labor. How would you like to be a lazy coach? How would you like to be a lazy hypnotherapist and allow this to happen without your own effort? That is where we're headed. And so this brings up a big question, though. If the client is responsible for going into trance, then what is my job? What's your job? It can't just be that we sit there and say nothing, right? Well, every now and then, silence actually will become a big part of it, but you do still have a job. Once you remove all of the forced elements of hypnosis, only two things remain. Number one is creating an environment where trance occurs spontaneously. Just because trance is a natural phenomenon doesn't mean that it will occur in every single environment. The best, most natural environment where trance will occur spontaneously is during curiosity-driven conversations. And the good news is that if you come from a coaching or NLP or traditional hypnosis background, you're probably already pretty good at this. There's a lot of room to grow in this skill for all of us, but if you have that background, if you have that training, then as long as you can let go of the need to do something, then you probably already have this skill, which means that you really only have one skill to learn, which is the second thing. You need to learn how to identify, amplify, and utilize the trance when it happens spontaneously. You need to learn to identify it, because if you can't recognize when it's happening, then you're going to be at a complete loss. You're just going to be having a conversation like anybody else would have with somebody. You need to be able to amplify it, because often these trances are not big. If they were happening during just everyday conversations with everybody, and they were these massive trances, nobody would get anything done. Life would be very confusing. People would be trancing out, and life would be awkward. And so you have to learn how to amplify these moments once you notice them. And then you need to know how to utilize them, how to use them in a coaching type of way, in a hypnotherapy, therapeutic type of way to actually lead to change. Just being in a deep trance is not enough. You need to know what to do with it. You need to know how to utilize it. And so those are really the three things that make up this idea of spontaneous hypnosis. So if you can have curiosity-driven conversations and you know how to do spontaneous hypnosis, you will be able to create incredible, incredible results for people. And so if these are the two skills, then all that you really need to do is find an environment where you can develop these two skills. And that is where my program comes in. The Advanced Spontaneous Hypnosis course and live trainings. And as far as how I teach it, I really believe that this way of doing hypnosis spontaneously is much better caught than taught. I think I am pretty good at boiling it down to its principles and teaching it in a straightforward, systematic way, but it is ultimately a much more spontaneous and intuitive approach. And so it's something that you want to see and experience as often as possible to really absorb it and get it so that you can do it and you can do it quickly. So as you can see from this fancy pie graph, approximately 20%, like at most, of the training will be focused on theory. The vast majority will be doing demos where we say, okay, enough talking about it, let's see in action. And so I'll have people volunteer to be the client and to be the coach or hypnotist. And we're going to run demos and I'm going to guide and coach you every step of the way. It is an amazing experience and I'm super excited for you to be able to be a part of it. So what you're joining is not just a course. What you're joining is essentially a gym for your coaching and hypnosis skills. And so what do you get when you enroll? Like, what are the different sections of this gym? You know, you go to a gym, there might be a sauna, there might be free weights, there might be cable machines, there might be a turf area. What do you get when you enroll in this gym that's focused on developing the skills of coaching and hypnosis? Here's what you get. First, you get access to the live masterclass. This is the immersion experience. We'll do a deep dive into the ASH method, ASH, Advanced Spontaneous Hypnosis. You'll get the ASH method. You'll be guided step by step through live demonstrations and interactive sessions. You'll see exactly how to implement this yourself with your own clients so you can start using it as soon as the weekend is over. On the first day, we'll talk about the foundational principles. We'll learn what is core, what's essential. We'll teach you why letting go is essential to having faster results. And we'll talk about what it really looks like to have those conversational skills, those curiosity-driven conversations, and then how to start noticing and utilizing those spontaneous trance moments. And then on the second day, we're really going to dive more into the advanced side of things. We're going to talk about ways that you can wrap up a session to create not just one breakthrough, but multiple breakthroughs, which is a big part of how you can charge premium sessions because you can explain that to your clients on strategy calls with them. We'll talk a little bit about that in the future, about how to explain this like profoundly magical thing that you're doing with people. So that is all just during the live masterclass. Second, you will get demo breakdowns. There will be two versions of this. There will be breakdowns from the live training that we do, where one of you, like I said, will be the coach or hypnotist. One of you will be the client, and I'll explain exactly what was going on. I'll explain room for improvement. I'll do it very graciously, and I'll explain why what you did worked. And I'll go into different angles you could have taken it. We'll dive and just do it. Basically, like it says here, review the game tape. I've gotten permission from a handful of my one-on-one clients to share those recordings with you as well. They were excited to know that they were going to be a part of just making this world a better place by training other people in this method that helped them. And so you'll be able to see how I got results for them, and I'll just kind of have you be over my shoulder during these actual sessions. You will get lifetime access as well to all future trainings. I might make this something that carries through for all time, that anybody who buys this anytime can do it. I might end up charging separately for access to future trainings in the future. But for you, if you're watching this video, that means that if you buy it once, you'll get access to all of my future spontaneous hypnosis trainings for life, and you'll never have to pay for another one again. So if the first time that you go, you're like, wow, my mind is blown, I understand like 20% of it, but that's enough to get started, Keep coming back and you will develop mastery over time. Number 4, you will get access to ongoing support and community. So beyond just being able to come back to future trainings, there will be a group that we're all a part of where we can post, ask questions, get advice from one another. You'll have access to me as well. I'm not just going to be an absent mentor. I'm going to be directly involved with your practices and with any questions that you have. You'll be able to collaborate with peers. You'll be able to schedule practice sessions with one another and then just collaborate together. And then there will be a lot of bonuses. I don't even know what these all will be. I'm putting together some of them right now. There will be a self-hypnosis course. There will be different master classes diving into different elements that we talk about. These will be built based on what you need. So if I see a certain question coming up a lot in the group, in the community, then I'll build a masterclass around it. And I might sell it to someone else, but if you're a part of the community, then you'll get that included as a bonus. So along the way, you will learn the art of conversational hypnosis. Really how to turn any conversation that you have, whether with a client or with other people, just into a powerful catalyst for change without the other person even realizing it. Learn how to elicit unconscious responses. This is one of the golden keys for being able to recognize when spontaneous trance is occurring. You'll learn how to break through any mental block. You'll recognize that they all follow the same couple of patterns. You'll learn my method to create lasting change with a minimal effort. I call it the lazy coach method. Like, you do not have to be trying so hard. I think that this industry has us all fooled that we need a million techniques, a million courses. This will be, if everything goes according to plan, pretty much the last course that you'll need. You'll learn to leverage the power of silence. And I could have actually worded this a little bit differently. You'll know when to let them be totally silent, to let yourself be silent and just sit in it. You'll also know when you can't let them sit in it, when you need to keep talking. So you'll understand both of those sides of that dynamic. You'll learn how to transform resistance into compliance. You'll learn to develop an intuitive approach to hypnosis and eventually how to make it your own. You'll understand the different kinds of trance that exist and what to do with them. You'll understand how to achieve breakthroughs in any context. So, I've used this one approach for anxiety, for depression, for anger, for relationship trauma, for childhood trauma, for sexual trauma, for business motivation, for business clarity. Like, it all is the same stuff. It all is just the same stuff at the end of the day. And then we'll also talk about the secrets to working with highly analytical clients, because those can be a little bit tricky on the surface level. In the end, it's the same stuff. Like, it's just another context, but it's something that comes up often enough that we'll talk about that specifically. These FAQs are on my site, so I'm going to go through these relatively quickly. If you have questions, you can always book a call with me. Let's go through a couple of these questions. Number 1, how is ASH different from other trainings in NLP, hypnosis, etc.? This is the core difference. Other trainings are going to add more to your toolbox, more scripts, more techniques, more memorization. I'm going to teach you to throw away the toolbox and trust the natural, spontaneous process of change. Okay, what about if you've already learned conversational hypnosis? I will say this, plenty of you have taken a course called conversational hypnosis, but they're still using scripted techniques. They're just teaching you how to sneak them into a conversation. That is not at all what we're doing here. You might be wondering, okay, are the results really that quick? Now, I will be honest with you, results will vary based on a lot of factors. If you suck at it, it's going to take longer. But overall, it's going to be much faster. Because number 1, you bypass all the resistance that you accidentally create by trying to force them to do something. And 2, we will teach you how to have multiple mini sessions during one Zoom call with a client. This is like my favorite thing about this method, is the fact that we will show you exactly how to make sure that while they're in this deep trance that you've created spontaneously, how to make the most of it. How to have 5, 6, 7 sessions at once instead of just one, so you can really transform their whole life instead of just the one thing that they came to you for. How do I know that this will work for me? And basically, the method is pretty simple, and yet it's very, very powerful, and will adapt to your own style and approach. And you will learn by doing. This is how the vast majority of people learn, is through doing, and yet the vast majority of people that teach things don't allow much time for doing at all. And so, like I said, the very way that I structure it will make sure that it will work for you as long as you participate. On top of that, it'll be support when you need it. Again, If you join now, lifetime access to the community and all future trainings means you're never on your own. You'll have the group to join, to participate in, to practice with. I'll be there to ask questions. And again, this is one approach to any problem. So I'm not asking you to master a million different skills. I'm asking you to practice this one skill a million times, get so good at it that you don't need anything else. What if I'm new to hypnosis? You can start from scratch. No prior experience in hypnosis is needed. I will say this, I do expect you to have some experience. We are not going to cover like ground zero as far as like what is the unconscious mind. You'll pick up most of that stuff if you're not totally familiar, but I do expect you to have some type of like coaching or NLP background or counseling background for doing this. Like, we're not going to cover the ground level of the ethics of coaching and hypnosis. I expect you to understand those yourself before starting this. So just keep that in mind. However, no experience in hypnosis is required. We'll build from the ground up. And again, you'll have support from me and the other practitioners. It's a very beginner-friendly approach because I'm not expecting you to memorize a single thing. This will be very easy to pick up. Will it fit with my current practice? Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of coaches, hypnotists, etc. have been able to successfully add in ASH sessions with their clients alongside the way that they're normally doing sessions. I'll give you a fair warning though. Most people eventually let go of all their past methods and just do this. So if you're attached, well, that's okay. You can hold on to it for as long as you want, but you'll eventually just like the simplicity of this a lot more, I think. How soon can I begin using this? Short answer, after one weekend. Longer answer, understand that practice will still be required. Think of it this way. People often talk about skill ceiling and skill floor. The skill floor for this is very low. You'll be able to start doing this very soon. The skill ceiling, however, is very high. It'll take you a long time to master this. I'm still learning so much. I'm going to continue learning for the rest of my life. How much does the training cost? $9.97 for lifetime access. Again, I might keep that forever, where at any point you could buy it for $9.87. It might just be for the next couple of trainings that I keep this around. Payment plans are available, so check the site, DM me, reach out, schedule a call with me if you need a payment plan. Can I really charge $1,000 per client? Yes, and here's why. Clients don't pay you for your time. Think like a business owner. If you're thinking in terms of like your hourly rate, you're still probably carrying over a employee mindset to this. People pay you for the results that you deliver. When you offer profound, life-changing results in just one session, they'll see the value and be willing to invest. So one of the cool things is that by charging more, you actually will also attract better clients because you'll have a premium brand. Now, you don't have to do this. You do not have to charge high prices. But if you want to, this will easily allow you to. You might also be wondering, is this a good investment? Again, this is not just a course. This is a professional development investment for your coaching and hypnosis skills. And my goal is that one client will give you an ROI, and then every client after that will be a bonus and cherry on top. Every training after that, every masterclass after that, every bonus after that will just be extra on top. I'm trying to give you 10 times, 20 times, 100 times more value in these trainings than you will ever pay for it. And those are the long-term benefits, and it will be ongoing. Like, I'm going to be updating it. I'm going to be offering support. I'm going to be adding more. I'm also going to be streamlining things. You know, if I find a faster approach to anything, I will be updating it all and letting you in on it. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good investment. And then you can start getting clients and testimonials like this. I want to highlight this. You know, I love getting texts like this. More breakthroughs and connections since the last night. Just feeling really good overall. Super happy with the results and the whole process. And then in the review that this client wrote, mentioning the Jedi mind tricks. So if you see me talk about that, I'm not just making it up. It wasn't my idea to call it that. And again, I talk about it being fun, you know, sprinkling in jokes, knowing the right questions to ask, make the hypnosis fun at times, even we'll talk about some of the most deeply rooted pain. This is, all things considered, a relatively light approach to hypnosis. It's nothing like overly serious. You know, talking about how the session was, you're magical. And this is what I'm talking about. I was just asking questions. I was just noticing the little spontaneous moments of trance and putting attention on it and utilizing it at the right ways, the right time. And they turn around and say, "Oh, you're magical." Not really, but I'll take the compliment. And then this is really cool too. Pain that had been there for decades. One session and it was gone. That's my favorite thing. That's why I do this. We can look at these really quick too. This bottom left here, I can barely remember the original problem just after a couple of weeks. I love that. 10 plus years of talk therapy, talking about his anger, only leaving feeling more angry. One session with me had me laughing, amazed with the quality of the questions, like it cast a spell on me or something. Couldn't even relate to my old ways by the end of our session together. From canceled appointments, jerks on the road, others poking my buttons, even after I've said no before, found a level of peace that I've missed. I mean, imagine that. Someone has had a sense of peace missing for 10 plus years, and you're able to give that back to them. That's what this is all about. Or here, this person was cheated on and helped to let go of that past and trust again. Was able to start dating someone. And so new relationship and love flourishing after they thought that their trust and ability to kind of be with someone were broken from being cheated on. I've got video testimonials as well. You can make those impacts as well. These are on my site, so I'm not going to play them right now. In summary, if you are tired of working hard for inconsistent results, taking course after course, memorizing, practicing, training, and is still inconsistent, if you really want to create deep, lasting change quickly that really helps people, if you want to be able to let go of all of the scripts and prep time and really start building a thriving business, if you want to command premium fees, if you want lifetime access to all trainings, if you want in-depth demo breakdowns, if you want ongoing community and support for practice and accountability, then don't wait. Transform your practice now. I think that if these are the things that you're genuinely committed to, then it's honestly pretty obvious. Like, let's start transforming your practice now. Let's dive in. The training's coming up. You've got access to everything that I've recorded thus far. You can start learning right away. You don't have to wait for the date of the training. Just go ahead and sign up. And really, every day that you delay is just another missed opportunity to change a life. It's another missed opportunity to grow your business and to provide for yourself and whoever you care about through that business. Start delivering the results that set you apart. Be exceptional. Like, by learning these methods, you will be in the top, 1%, 10%, doesn't really matter. You'll be in the top echelon of practitioners out there. So I look forward to seeing you on the inside. This is my life. This is my passion. I am going to work myself to the bone to make sure that you get the results that we talked about in this video.